right, ladies and gentlemen, this is how it all begins. And this is how we begin the broadcasting week here on the Paranormal Portal. It's Wednesday. It's hump day, everybody. So the good news is the hard part's over. Now it's just downhill. Wow, look at that T-Bone rolling in right off the bat with a nice donation. Thank you, T-Bone. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. We are going to be grinding through a 2-hour show, but it's going to feel like just about 5 minutes because we'll be joined in a little bit here by my good friend, Mr. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. BMR's in the house. He's standing by. And we are going to be rocking it out. I just wanted you guys to know this is our debut live stream on Facebook as well. So we are streaming live on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, and Facebook. We covered all the big bases that I can think of. So we're streaming to all of them. I hope it's working. I looked like I was checking Facebook. It looked like it was working, at least for a moment there. Just checking it on my phone quickly. But yeah, so, I mean, my God, we're just trying to get everywhere. Just spreading like a bad rash, as it were. So welcome, everybody, into the show. We have a lot of stuff going on here tonight. We're going to be talking to Rob in just a minute. I know, that's it, Don. They changed it. It got really easy. It got like stupid easy. So I hope it's working now. So cross your fingers. I don't know. But before I go any further, I just want to off the bat, once again, talking about energy and effort. And doing these shows probably isn't like a labor-intensive, hard job, but it is a cerebral job, and it takes a lot of effort and creativity. And I'm here to tell you, folks, I've been talking to you about this for a few weeks now, but I've been partnered with a company called Magic Mind. And if you've been watching the shows, you kind of know a little bit about it. But Magic Mind is this incredible supplement. It's these little energy shots, and they are literally like a shot. Like if you're going to, go to the bar, you get a shot. Well, it's about as much fluids in here, but it's packed full of all kinds of stuff that's really good for you. Lion's mane, cordyceps, vitamins, and all kinds of good stuff. And it promotes mental focus, energy, calms your stress level. It just does so much to help you out. And I've noticed for me, it's a personal huge game changer. Now, the good thing is that this isn't packed full of like Franken chemicals and Franken foods. It's all third-party tested. I really like the flavor. I think these little things are delicious. They're like I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm doing something good for myself just because the flavor is so light and it's a happy flavor for me. It's sweetened with a little bit of agave, which is nice. And these things, I'm here to tell you, when I take these, and you just need one, and it'll take you through the day. And I know that there's no comparison between without it and with it, what it does for me personally. I feel like I have so much more energy, so much more focus. I feel like I just want to drive ahead and get things done. And this really is my personal game changer. So I realize it's a promotional spot, but folks, I have to tell you, I honestly believe in this stuff. I use it personally, and it's incredible. And all you have to do to get yours and to try it out is to go to www.magicmind.com/portaljan. Portal and then Jan, one word. So it's a pretty easy URL. It's a great opportunity. You can save up to 47%, I think, right now, or something like that if you get on the subscription plan. But the beauty of this is that there's almost no risk. Like if you try this and you're like, I don't like it, they'll give you 100 days, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So you're really gambling pretty much nothing, but you're standing to gain a bunch. Again, the only reason I'm promoting this on the shows is honestly because I believe in it, and it's so easy to use. You just grab one of these little things, give it a quick little shake, and bottoms up. I'm on the way to better health. Ooh, I'm feeling more focused. It takes about 15 minutes to hit, but I'm here to tell you, folks, it's a fantastic product. I hope you guys will give it a shot. Again, go to www.magicmind.com/portaljan, magicmind.com/portaljan, and check it out. And again, 100 days, you got to try it out. If you don't like it, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So special thanks to Magic Mind. Appreciate you guys being a part of this and letting me be a part of your voice. So guys, hopefully you check it out. But we got a lot to get to here tonight. Sometimes the words just don't come out like they mean to, or like I mean them to. I got to pull up my sleeves because I'm just starting to cook now. We are joined tonight, ladies and gentlemen, by my good friend and longtime friend, actually. Rob's been a part of what I've been doing forever, and he's doing his own thing now. He's got the Bigfoot Michigan Rob channels, brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. He's on YouTube. I've been a guest on his show many, many times, and we finally got it worked out to get Rob here so we can talk to him about some of his experiences and the strange things that he's experienced, and a lot of weirdness. We're going to cover a lot of weirdness as well. So join me in welcoming to the show Mr. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. How you doing, Mr. Rob?
Well, hello, Brent. Oh, boy, what a start. Hello, Brent.
How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I had a little something caught in my throat there. I'm doing great, man. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm sorry. I truly am sorry it's taken so long to get you here. I know you've had me on your show dozens of times. And
well, Brent, not only... You're actually not even a guest anymore because, as you know, you're featured at least twice a week.
I know.
You sit in with me and text when I don't have guests on, and that's always a good time. So, yes. So, but hey, no worries, my man. I'm glad to have you. I'm glad we're friends, as you said, and I've always enjoyed the portal, and thanks for helping me out and co-hosting a couple times a month.
Oh, yeah, it's my pleasure. I like getting on other people's shows, especially yours in Texas, because it makes my job easy. I can just sit back.
Well, you sit back and do nothing.
Yeah,
Brent.
I know.
That's
I
what
like this.
Yeah. Okay, I got to stop watching my phone because I've never used StreamYard, so I'm watching on the phone, and no, it's not working because it's delayed. And so everybody in chat, hello to everybody, because I can't watch this because it's going to throw me off.
Oh, okay.
How do I look, by the way? Am I too big?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Camera?
No, it's just, it's your head's bigger than mine, but I do that for myself.
Is it full frame or what? How's that?
You're good. You're good. The point is,
I'm good. Okay.
See, I have all this crap going on behind me, just as like eye candy, so I make myself smaller so that people can see more of that stuff going on. Because I don't know if
people see my crows. I got the crow's feet coming in, man. I don't know if
well, it's all the wisdom you've earned through the years, Rob.
God, yeah, I guess so.
So tonight we're going to dive through a lot of your experiences, Rob, and I know you've had a ton of them. I gotta ask you, and again, this is kind of my caveat canned question, but how were you always interested in this stuff? And I think you and I have talked about this before on your show, but just for my listeners and people that may not be familiar with you, how did your journey diving into this stuff start? Can you let us know?
Yeah, it's really kind of a weird journey, to be honest. And and first, to answer the first question, I've always been into weird stuff, paranormal, UFOs, Bigfoot. When I saw Leonard Nimoy, that was like, holy cow, what's going on? In fact, I remember seeing the Leonard Nimoy In Search Of, and I was in grade school, and of course there's no Bigfoot books in my library, right? So it's kind of a bummer.
Right.
But I always was interested, and it's funny when you talk about the journey, because I used to think that my journey started in 2018 when I had my Bigfoot encounter, which everybody's probably heard about by now, right?
Right. Well, I'm hoping you'll go over it again.
We can do that, but as far as the journey, to encapsulate the journey,
sure.
So I've been doing my podcast, my YouTube show. I think this is my 4th year in January. I think it's going on year 4 already. Yeah. And that only came up because of my Bigfoot encounter. But then as I started going on other people's shows and people that would be on my show, they posed the question, why do you think you've seen the Bigfoot? Do you think that people that have these experiences, they're born with this, or they say once you see a Bigfoot, you'll always see another one? And I didn't have the answers for that. And so when I technically say my journey started in 2018, my journey started, now that I look back on my life and really did a deep dive, my journey really started at the age of 5, unbeknownst to me.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it came to fruition in 2018. Oh. Because, and again, I got tons of stories, and I'm going to give you encapsulate this briefly throughout the timeline, of how it led up to the encounter. Mm-hmm. When I was 5 years old, 6 years old, my first paranormal experience, now looking back, I can call it paranormal, was a ghost in my bedroom, right? And the first time I saw this ghost, I woke up crying, ran into mom and dad's bedroom. Rob, you had a dream. It's okay, son, this, that, and the other. It happens the second time, maybe a week later, same thing. Run to mom and dad's room, Mm-hmm. Third time it happens, my brother, I don't go to mom and dad because even as a little boy, I'm not going to mom and dad. I wake up my brother and I see this ghost, and it was creepy looking. It looked like your average ghost, though. It was kind of white, foreboding, humanoid looking object with these deep black eyes. And it was just kind of floating in the bedroom, man. And I said, my brother Dave, who was 2 years younger than me, do you see what I'm seeing? He goes, no, what, bro? What? I said, you don't see that? It's a ghost. Now, of course, he starts crying, but he doesn't see it. So once again, we run to mom and dad's bedroom. We end up spending the night in the bedroom. So again, I'm going to do these all briefly to give everybody an idea. So that was that. And then several years later, my mom wakes me and my brother up from bed. We're a little bit older now. I think we're in like first, second grade. Mm-hmm. There's a UFO hovering in the backyard. And it was about 100 yards up, straight up in the air. And it reminded me of the UFO from the Lost in Space program. Oh. Okay. And it was like a goldish metallic color. And it was sizable. It certainly was lower than an airplane would ever fly. And then all of a sudden, boom, in a milliseconds, it just blasted up in the air and was gone. And it made the late night news.
Oh,
people called into the local news stations about a flying saucer, they called it way back in the day, right?
Sure.
So it actually made the news. And so my mom was like, yeah, I thought so. But of course, now you got to remember, Brett, and I just remember my mom telling me the story that it was the very last story. It was kind of made fun of. Who are these crazy people in southern Michigan?
Oh, right.
So it was like laughable news, I guess, for the news people. So whatever. Yeah. But again, that's something we saw. Life goes on. I'll fast forward. And then I always thought that I had these abilities to sum up people. I told you the story about Jimmy, which we can maybe get into or not. You know how terrible that was.
Right.
And then the story, I see Krista's in the chat room. I never told this to the Blondes and the Boozer text. I won't tell the story really. It's briefly. I even convinced the guy that I thought he was going to rob my bar.
Oh.
He didn't, but then 2 days later in the news, he robbed the bar up the road.
Oh.
And I knew he was going to rob me, but for whatever reason, he elected to go up the road. So again, I've been able to pick out, I can sum up a person in a matter of minutes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, sure, people call it intuition. We all know when someone's looking at us, right? We can feel that. But I can feel something more with people, I think. Mm-hmm. And I don't consider myself unique. I think we all have it. But I can interview people for the bar job and without reading a resume and know if they're going to work out or not. And the ones that I don't interview always got fired or stole from me. So I've got this something about me that I can sense things, Mm-hmm. So I started developing that skill. And then later on in life, I got married. And the wife and I, we bought all these artifacts and trinkets. We brought them into the house. We set up this room. And again, these are brief snapshots to fast forward to my entire lifespan. So these stories are way longer, and you can go wherever you want after I'm done, of course. So then we started seeing shadow people in the house, shadows out of our eyes, side of our eyes, and it was creepy. The shadow person was as tall as the bottom of the floor to the ceiling. Very scary. And so we called in a psychic, a medium, whatever, way back in the day. You got to remember, I'm in my mid-20s at this time, and and the medium sensed a cold presence in the room where all the artifacts were. We got rid of the artifacts. All the shadow people went away. But you know what came back, Brent?
What?
A couple weeks later, the same ghost I saw as a 5-year-old.
Really?
I woke up in the middle of the night, seeing the same identical ghost. I wake up my wife, much like when I woke up my little brother way back when.
Sure.
Honey, do you see that? Do you see that? She didn't see anything.
Oh.
This happened a couple other times. Then it finally went away. Then fast forwarding again, another decade, I ended up moving on from the wife. I bought a bar, this, that, and the other. And then the people at my bar said, Rob, I owned it for 13 years, about 6 years into owning the bar, a lot of my employees that started when I owned the place, they were good employees, so they were there for a while, started giving me hints that they think the bar was always haunted, that they would see things at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And not really see ghosts, but they would hear voices. And the office of the bar was in the basement, right? Oh. And so they would clean up all the bar tops, all the tables, no beer bottles, glasses are there. It's clean. That was the thing. You had to clean up before you went home. They'd leave. They'd go home. And guess what, Brent? There'd be like 8, 9, 10 bottles dispersed all around the bar, which they know they picked up. Where'd they come from? There was no one in the bar. The bar was closed. And I'm hearing all these stories. And one night, Brent, the coolest story of my lifetime is when I saw 4 apparitions at the end of my bar when I ended up working there late one night. Oh, geez. And then so that happened, and then
wait. I love that you have so much to cover, but every one of these stories is making me want to ask you a bunch of questions.
Yeah, you can. But then one last quick thing, then we can roll from there. Then after that, my next biggest thing that I saw was, of course, the Bigfoot in 2018. So I kind of wanted to give everyone a brief encapsulation and these are only a handful of the many things I've encountered.
Sure.
Those are kind of the highlights. So then people ask me, how do you think this started? And I said in 2018, but now looking back at my life, it probably started when I was 5 or 6 years old. I did not know it.
It's very interesting because you know, and this is a theme that comes up all of the time in the paranormal, that some people, by virtue of whatever, and it's hard to know. I mean, we have theories and ideas, but what seems to be pretty consistent is those people with sensitivity. And I agree, everybody is sensitive or has the capacity to be sensitive, but some people are just, they're just born with it turned on. And quite honestly, it sounds like perhaps that's the situation for you, that, this has just always been on for you. At least some of the sensitivity has, and by virtue of seeing it, and the example of you seeing apparitions and several other people that were right there with you in these different instances didn't. So like you have that clairsentience, or I'm not sure, there's a lot of clairs and I don't remember. I know clair audio means you can hear them. I'm not sure which one means you can see them, and then the awareness one, but anyway, without breaking into all of that, but it sounds like that's definitely been the case for you. And it seems like people that have those switches on just become magnets for this stuff, and that it seems as though throughout the course of your journey that you've been one of those people.
I think so, and I think it stems back to I always, as a young guy growing up throughout my life, I always was very open-minded with everything, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not suggesting I was open to the paranormal or cryptids. I watched all the shows, and yes, I was very interested.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm one of these people, when I listen to somebody or talk to somebody, meet on the street, meet at work, meet at the bar, whatever, I really listen to them, and I'm open minded to what they have to tell me. And I tend to, I don't know, vibe with them, and I
Sure.
can feel that energy.
Yep.
And it goes back to whether or not I think this person's full of bunk or otherwise, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of really how the show even formulated.
Yeah.
Simply because a lot of these stories we hear, no one believed me and my Bigfoot encounter for years. I was judged, ridiculed, and I never wanted to be in that spot. And that's kind of how I even started the podcast, to have people come on that were afraid, much like I was for a very long time.
Yeah. And that's an interesting take too, because I have to admit, when I started doing this show, I mean, I've had a ton of experiences throughout my life as well, many of which I've shared throughout the journey,
Yeah.
but there's several more that I've never talked about. But I was very reluctant to do that as a host, because I always thought, well, isn't that convenient? I got a show about all this paranormal stuff, and sure, I have all these paranormal experiences too. Go figure. And I just didn't know how people would take that, so I just kept it real close to the chest. But I was really surprised and I felt it was heartwarming that people accepted my stories as well. And in fact, that I think by virtue of having experiences myself, it's enabled me to connect to these other experiencers with a sense of true empathy, because I know kind of what they've been through. I don't know exactly what they've been through, but I know what it's like to have these experiences and how it alters everything,
That's such a great point, because I can relate to that. Because when I talked about my Bigfoot encounter well before even having a YouTube channel. I went on a couple that I regretted going on because they're not even in existence. I think they just wanted to give views. This dude has a good story,
Mm-hmm.
and then I finally found the right group of people finally, which through due diligence is a searching. So when I started my show, everyone knew by now about my story, but I told my story a couple times on my actual channel.
Mm-hmm.
And Brent, I thought like you did. I was reluctant to start sharing my other experiences because I had in the back of my mind that, oh, well, Rob's just trying to drive up his ratings.
Right.
This guy has a show, so he all of a sudden is seeing ghosts. Oh, he saw a Bigfoot, but now he's telling us he's seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
He's seen this. So it took me well over a year to start sharing freely with the people, because the great thing about our audience is they respect the opinion and what happens to people, and they don't judge. At least across the people that follow me do not. So I got more comfortable with myself telling these things. And then, it just seems like you get that attachment with the audience, and they love it. And I'm so grateful that that I'm able to tell these other people, because for me, it's like therapy.
Yeah.
It's not therapeutic for me to talk about ghosts. I'm over that, but it's always therapeutic every time I talk about my Bigfoot encounter, because it was both exhilarating but very sad, as you well know.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know if it was 2018 when you called in, or 2017.
When I called in, I don't know. My Bigfoot encounter was 2018, June 15th. I'll never forget that date. And I don't know if I called in to you immediately, or I might have waited till like 2019, because I didn't really start my channel up to like 21, I think.
Yeah, it was.
But it was a while ago.
Right. Yeah.
I started following all these podcasts right after the Bigfoot encounter. So that's why I found you out, actually.
Oh, cool. Now, was that a method of coping for you? Is that why you searched out these shows, just to, I don't know, maybe try to come to terms?
I think I was searching for answers.
Right.
Because I didn't know, because I was kind of ignorant to YouTube. I used YouTube just to watch music videos or concerts.
Sure.
The older bands back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that there was a chat. And I tell you what, I kid you not, I did not know that there were channels that discussed all of these things that YouTube provides, whether it's paranormal, cooking, politics,
Fixing your
whatever.
car. Yeah.
And so I started surfing it, and I just started typing in Bigfoot Paranormal on YouTube, and all these channels pulled up, and I was surprised to find that there's actually talk shows like we all do,
Yeah.
and there's a chat room. So that was another method for me to get information outside of what I was researching on my own, and I found some, not all, to be very credible, and certainly yours was one of them. And then I kind of proceeded on from there. Down the road, then I met Tex down the road, and
Sure.
then we kind of formulated our little conglomerate of shows.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting. You used to actually play my show in your bar, didn't you, on the screen?
I did. I played you in Space Out Radio. Yeah,
that's right. You guys didn't you have like a drinking game or something like that?
We had a drinking game. Well, on Dave Scott's show, if he said the woo, the keywords that I think of every time Dave Scott says the woo, I'll buy you a drink. But every time he says, I forgot another word he always said, you buy me, you buy a drink, right? You have to buy another round, right?
Sure.
So that turned into a lot of fun. And then my bar was pretty big. And there was one side of the bar which, people could watch their sports and everything. And then after really following Dave Scott, that was following you, I had another room that wasn't really being used, and there was a big old TV in there, and there was another bar in there. So I opened it up, and you could only go in that room if you're interested in the paranormal, because I would play all the paranormal shows on it.
Oh, cool.
And you know what, man? That kind of one person would show up, that people would be intrigued. What's up with this room over here? That it grew into, like, I'd have a steady 15, 20 people watching all the YouTube channels. So we had a lot of fun in there. I miss that too. I do miss that. That was a lot of fun.
That used to be a lot of fun. And then I know you'd be in chat telling us what was going on over at your bar.
Yeah, I did that. Yes, I did that with Dave and yourself. Yeah. And it was, oh man, and I got to tell you, and it was cool because you guys were on different time zones, and I worked at the bar almost 7 days a week, literally from opening to close.
Yeah.
So I'd watch Brent, and I'd throw on Dave because Dave came on at midnight.
Right.
So that he made it even more spooky, Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
And I can't imagine why your bar was haunted.
Yeah, geez, can't imagine. I'm bringing it all in. It was, I once again conjured up all this stuff.
You might have. You might have, because that's something that does come up from time to time. Is that I'll get an email. They don't happen a lot. But I'll get an email from time to time from somebody that goes, hey, I don't know what it is, but when I watch your show, things start happening around my house. And it's like, I feel bad because, of course, that's not the virtue and the nature of what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to have discussions because, A, I'm fascinated with this. I want answers. And B, I love hearing what people have to say and look at other viewpoints and stuff. But, have you heard from some of your listeners that occurs?
Well, all the time, yeah, pretty readily. You get, the theme that I get most is, which happens to me a lot. I used to watch a lot of things on television that were spooky at night, paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes it even got kind of, I'd fall into a channel, which I didn't know what it was. And then there'd be all of these, like, rituals being said. I had no idea what they're talking about, and then it turned out they're conjuring up demons. And I started having these nightmares, right?
Yeah.
And someone literally told, I'm not going to say their name right now, but they literally told me that we can manifest these things through electronics now.
Yeah.
Which scared. And then, of course, the blondes and the booze, Krista and Brandy, even further heightened my scaredness, if that's even a word. With certain things I would tell them, oh my God, Rob, you got to do this, that, and the other. You're doing something. So, yeah, and other listeners, it brought up a lot of the similarities.
Right.
I find that if you investigate, I believe you can manifest a lot of things.
Sure.
I manifested my college grades. I did.
Oh.
I knew what I had to get. My first 2 years of college, I was a partier.
Oh.
My grade point was 2.65, and I was getting ready to get kicked out. I went to the University of Michigan, so you have to carry at least a 3.0. Plus, I wanted to get a master's degree. I had to have a 3.50. So the first 2 years of college I found to be very boring. It was advanced high school. math.
Yeah.
I just took math, English. Come on, really? In college? It wasn't until the last 2 years where I excelled because I knew, though, that to do what I needed to do in my career, I had to get a 4.0. So every day I had a writing in my dorm room, and then in the house I moved in with a bunch of dudes. I had, you must get straight A's. And I looked at that every day. I dreamt it. I slept it. I ate it. I need straight A's. I can't screw up not once if I want to get a 3.5, let alone get dropped, flunked out of college, even though you're not flunking at 2.6, but yet there's a standard at the University of Michigan. So yeah, man, I graduated with a 3.5. I was a straight A student my last 2 years. And I got to tell you, I believe, sure, I studied way more. I quit partying. But I will tell you this. If I don't believe that I had that ingrained in my head each and every day, 24/7, I think part of me did manifest that. And then my goal, my drive was there. But to look at that every day and say, I'm going to do this, I was saying in an odd way, I think that I did manifest part of that, at least.
Sure.
I really do.
Yeah. Oh, I believe that. I think we very profoundly create our reality, and certainly that's one of the things that you can do to create. I mean, I'm sure that just by virtue of repeating those things to yourself, it was, you were kind of being your own taskmaster as well, or your own support. Like, oh yeah, I can't get distracted. I got to, and so it probably was just good, as far as a personal mantra. But I think, it's also a form of manifestation. That was what you needed. You knew you needed it. And, energy follows intention is what I was always taught. And I think that's a very profound statement, that was your intention and the energy followed it. Certainly it wasn't without effort on your part, but.
No, I mean, I put in the time. If I didn't study, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad you try to manifest something.
Right.
If you don't put in the effort to study, it wouldn't happen. I know that. I mean, I do know that. I know a great deal of it was me just pounding the books, but also pounding that, looking at that every day. There's a lot of people, man, they want to buy a Corvette.
Yes.
They put it on the refrigerator and they just want to buy a Corvette. They don't know when or how. And a lot of those people get it.
Yes.
A lot of your successful business people, that's what they do. I did that even with the business. When I first started, it was floundering. Then I just started to really focus on the objectives, and that was my task every day.
Yeah.
Continue, repeat, wash, rinse. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and I do believe that you can manifest things, because I got to tell you this little story.
Sure.
I tried to figure out how to astral project. And yes, I know many people advised me against it. So I started watching stuff on YouTube, reading some stuff, and I was really intent on this. And I even went as far as to get what do you call it? A meditation. There's a meditation on YouTube that kind of pertained to what I was trying to do. So I went about this, Brent, for about several months with nothing. Man, nothing was happening. I asked so much for my theory on manifestation and even astral projecting. So I gave it a break. I didn't try it. And one night I said, I'm going to try it again, but I really concentrated. In fact, I did not even use the meditation. I just sat there in a chair. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where I went, because I'm sitting physically in a chair, in my body, my physical. Well, I don't know if this was not my physical body. I could see myself crawling down the hallway on my hands and knees, and I'm crawling, and I can see this while I'm sitting from the chair. And now I know I'm having an out-of-body experience of some sort. And then what I did was, I turned back and looked over my right shoulder back toward where I was sitting in the chair. Then I saw myself. And I immediately freaked out and snapped out of it. Yeah. And I must tell you, I immediately called like Krista or Brandy or one of the girls. Hey, man, I got to tell you something. They're like, oh, what are you nuts? I get that, of course. But
sure.
But I'm not doing that again because upon further investigation, you don't know where you're going. You could get lost and not come back.
Sure. Yeah.
Or you could bring something back on your travel.
Yeah.
I didn't quite travel, but I was out of my conscious body, I guess you would call it. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I think it's a profound thing. And I've heard of people that have had amazing experiences doing that and working towards it and developing it. But you're right. I mean, there are those people that say, look, there's a lot of risk with this. You got to be careful. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what might be out there waiting for you. There's apparently these dark things out there floating in the astral plane that, will be trying to prey upon people that are projecting. And maybe that's a very real thing, kind of like possession or oppression or attachments or whatever. And God only knows. But it's certainly a cautionary tale. And I don't think, I mean, I've had lucid dreams, but I don't think I've ever astrally projected that I know of. But I've not tried to, though, either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do not do that practice anymore, but I will tell you about vivid dreams. I had this vivid dream that I was in Las Vegas playing cards. My brother and sister were actually in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And long story short on this, I played cards with this guy who I'm in Vegas. I'm in the Flamingo Hotel, which is where I always stay and always play poker. I play Texas Hold'em quite often. I haven't been in a couple of years, but I've been there like 10 times at least in the last 3 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I had this during this playing cards, this creepy guy that beat me. He beat me with 3 6s of all things.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's following me down a corridor, and all of a sudden it got black. And this guy turned into my dad, who's passed away. Now, I have these dreams where I always get lost and I can't find myself. I'm always in a familiar spot. It's either a casino where I go or maybe the local shopping mall where I go. And it starts out pleasant in the dream, very vivid. It's almost like I'm there. And then I just get lost. And then my loved ones will reach out and try to guide me out of where I'm at because they know that I'm lost. And my dad, oftentimes, who passed away 7-8 years ago, Robbie, I'll guide you out of here. And typically in those dreams, he guides me out. But in this particular dream, it was my dad. He grabs my hand, Robbie, I'll guide you out. And then he turned into this demonic-looking person and said, I'm taking you straight to the lake of fire.
Oh, geez. Oh, God.
And I woke up in a sweat. And again, I called my 2 best buddy girls, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe you. And then they believe me, but I can't, this is crazy. But you know what the craziest thing was? Of course, I wasn't in Vegas, but my brother and sister-in-law, they were both in Vegas.
Oh.
And you know what? They happen. Yeah, at the time I'm having this dream, they're there in Vegas.
Okay.
And you know what? They watched my channel because that night I did a live stream. I was so distraught that I went live around 2 or 3 in the morning. And a bunch of people were all in chat, surprisingly, And then my brother and sister-in-law, they were in their hotel room ready, and they happened to pop on TV, and they seen me going live.
Oh,
and they heard me telling me about this dream. And they got kind of eerie and creeped out, and they know where the Flamingo is, where I was playing cards. So my sister Karen, she's pretty intuitive as well. She goes to my brother Dave, let's go down the Flamingo and check it out. I just want to go down there. She goes, I don't know why, but your brother just has such a weird dream. We're here in Vegas. Let's just go over there. Listen to this, Brett, everyone listening. They mosey through the Flamingo. Now, the Flamingos also, my brother and sister-in-law always go there. I mean, the bartenders know me, the dealers know me, they know my brother, they know my sister-in-law. So we go there. We've gone there quite often, I hate to admit. But here's the thing. One of the bartenders says, I saw your brother playing cards.
Oh.
And my Karen goes, excuse me, what? Yeah, I think I saw your brother playing Texas Hold'em at some table over there.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's creepy. I got chills.
No, dude, I'm chilled right now. My sister and Dave, my brother, they're like, "Are you kidding me?" And Brent, they just watched my show, live show, talking about that event. They called me. So Karen starts taking pictures with her phone, all in the whole bar area,
Uh-huh.
all the bar area. And they call me, Rob, you're not in Vegas, are you? We just saw your YouTube show and we don't believe what's going on here. I said, no, I'm at home. I dreamt all that. She takes all these pictures, and do you know not a one damn one of those pictures came out?
Really?
Could not pull any of them out. You know, and every other picture they took was there. Every one that they took, upon the bartender telling them I was there, she just starts firing random pictures. She said she fired 20 of them. Not a single one came through on her phone.
Oh, no. Oh, that's creepy.
And that's honest to God's truth. That's what happened. And it's like, and they're talking, we spent, we're on the phone all night talking about it. And they really got the creeps. And I was like, now, Brent, now this is after. Now, remember how I told you about my astral projection that it was a failure? Thank God it was. Right. This was after that. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking this. Did I somehow actually go there?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's fascinating.
It is
but that
fascinating.
Is chilling, man.
It's
chilling.
Really creepy because, I mean, just the whole idea that, first of all, some guy beat you in cards with a 3 6s.
Yeah.
Just like,
nope.
Okay. But then it just goes downhill from there. But then to find out, oh, hey, the bartender says he saw you.
He saw me.
Oh, that's
and you know what was the chance of my brother and sister to throw on YouTube on a whim? I mean, they watch me, but they're on vacation. Why are they going to watch me? But it was like, late at night, they wanted to get an early start for the next day, and they throw on YouTube to see, not to see that I was on, because they know that's not my normal schedule, but it was on their alert bell, everybody turn on your alert bells. That's so you don't miss any shows for any of us. But yeah, and they alert bell, they watched, and they were just beside themselves and called me immediately after. And
yeah, there's so many.
I don't know, man. I think I went somewhere. Maybe I didn't, but that's just weird. That's not no coincidence either.
You see, there again, the old saying, there is no coincidences. And I don't know whether there is or not. I think that sometimes there may be, but sometimes in a story like that, there's so many variables that it just becomes, it defies logic to try to put all of that together in the synchronicity of all those events. It's just, that seems like something very profound was going on and very creepy as well.
And I got to tell you, very creepy, very profound. And I must say, that's why I love doing my show on my channel. Because, immediately after I aired that show, that random live show, I must have gotten more comments and more texts and more DMs on my phone with people reaching out to me and offering what they thought it was. And so that made me feel better, because I started reading a lot of this, and a lot of it does make sense. Our audiences are very, very educated when it comes to this stuff. So that kind of helped me. I'm not scared of it. It hasn't happened. Anything like that has not happened since. But going back to my beginnings as a 5-year-old, I've developed things throughout my lifetime that I was unaware of.
Right.
I don't know what it is. So, yeah, when you talk about my journey, I think it started long time ago without me even knowing it.
That's really, really incredible. Going back to your first story, now obviously this apparition that basically terrorized you as a child was still kind of around you for many years, and I don't know, maybe perhaps still. But did you ever find out anything? I mean, was it the house? Do you think that had that attachment, or do you think it's just something that might have attached to you, or is it?
I'm guessing. Well, that was my parents' house. There was not a haunted house at all. Although I seen the ghost in my parents' house, obviously, as a young boy.
Yeah.
I saw it 3 times, as I made mention, and then it kind of never came back. It came back in my marital home.
Yeah.
after we got rid of the shadow people.
Mm.
And then a couple weeks later, I'm seeing the ghosts. And it happened twice, and that was it. Then I've never seen it again. I've not seen it again, and I think I was like 28, and I'm somewhere in my 50s now. But yeah, I haven't seen it since.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm somewhere in there too, Rob. But
yeah. I know.
let's not get into that.
50, I'm a 50 something. Yeah, that's I call it that. Call it
Yeah.
a day. My birthday was 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh god, my birthday. Wow,
Happy
whatever.
birthday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Could you explain what this apparition looked like? Because I'm just trying to understand. You said it had blackened eyes. It looked like a ghost, but what does that mean? Does it look male? Did it look
Yeah,
female?
I know. To me, it looked like a ghost. I will tell you this. I used to watch a lot of Scooby Doo, and I'm kidding you not. This is not funny. It looked like I don't want to call it a white sheet. Just imagine a human body,
Okay, so
like at Halloween time, with a white sheet over it, with the head, extended arms, and it's draped down with the black eyes, no mouth, no nothing. But not a cartoon-looking figure like Scooby Doo.
right.
It was like a whitish gray, and the body was kind of like not solid. It was transparent, and it wasn't a solid sheet like a sheet that you wear at Halloween. It was kind of tattered and kind of
Oh,
it had like cut. It was kind of like had fringe on it, and it was all uneven at the bottom, and it just kind of hovered, darting up and down,
Okay.
bouncing up and down, side to side. So that was the best way I can explain it.
sure.
You know.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's just that. Yeah, so what you're saying is it was a white mass that approximated a humanoid shape, but it was
Yes.
it was androgynous. You couldn't make out male or female. It was just
No.
humanoid shape. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Then you
gotcha.
could see through it right to the back of the bedroom wall. You know, it was definitely transparent, but definitely visible for sure.
Now, as a kid, when you're seeing that and knowing that, when you asked your brother, he couldn't see that. What did you think at that point? Like, he's blind, or is there something wrong with me, or why am I only seeing this? Can you remember?
Well,
what
you
was
gotta
going through your
remember,
head?
that's a great question because as a young kid, certainly I can't. If this would have happened to me like 3 years older, or was a little more smarter, or had more knowledge,
Sure.
I probably would have thought there was something wrong with me. But at 5 or 6, we were
Sure.
barely, I didn't put my finger on that at all. I just thought that maybe I was dreaming wide awake.
Right. Okay.
That crossed my mind, but for a kid to think that, that's kind of deep. But that's what I kind of thought, really, that I was just dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, I kind of blamed it on the ghost cartoons with Scooby Doo. I mean, I could, because my mom and dad said, my mom and dad even brought that up. You gotta stop watching Scooby Doo. So I started watching the Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny. I mean, I don't, what I mean?
Well, werewolf in the chat says, I've been told I have a humanoid shape.
Oh yeah, werewolf. How you doing, buddy? Hello to everybody in chat. I cannot see you guys because if I look at my phone, I'll be thrown off because it's behind. We're using a different service. So hello to everybody. Thanks for coming on in.
I'm just looking because there was a question, and I was going to stop the chat at that point. I can't put them up on screen if there is a way to do it. I don't know it. But there was a something. I don't remember who asked it, but I'm just going through the chat here quick to see if I can find it. But ladies and gentlemen, you guys are welcome to ask Rob questions as well. Please feel free. Just if you could type in the chat in all capitals, that would be great. This comment I'm talking about started with capitals and then it went small, but I don't remember who sent it or what they said now, because my head is swimming with everything you're talking about, Rob. And there's go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I mean, that's why I tried to encapsulate that because, as you know, I've written 2 books. I think my 3rd book is going to be about me.
Yeah.
Because I could probably write a novel.
I think it should be, because your encounters are fascinating. Now, when you saw the spirits in the bar, you said you saw 3 figures in the bar at the end of the bar. What did
Yeah.
they look like? Were they able to be, could you make out what they were or who they were might have been?
I can tell you that exact story, but remember I told you about my mom really quick? She got me that text, so perfect timing. I'll take
Okay.
care of that and I'll tell you that story.
Yeah, by
And I'll
all
be right
means.
back. Give me 40 seconds. It's just really quick thing I gotta do for her.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll be right here
All right.
talking to
Yep.
everybody. But
All
yeah,
right, thanks.
everybody, you guys can feel free to weigh in as well. If you've got questions for Rob, you want to ask him some point about his stories that he shared, feel free. How do you get rid of shadow people? That's a great question, Batman. I mean, some people say you can't. Like some people say that they are, if you have shadow people around, you've got shadow people around, and there's not much you can do until they just decide to be around. Now, I will tell you one thing, and this is something I've shared on the shows and other shows many times, but keep this in mind because it might be a different understanding of what shadow people are. I think it's Cherokee. There was and I think Don found this years ago from the Art Bell archives, but it was a gentleman being interviewed by Art Bell. And he was a Cherokee shaman, and I think he was Cherokee. I think he was going through the Cherokee shaman training or had been trained. But anyway, yeah, you're kind of right, Batman. But anyway, what he said is, traditionally people are taught to be very afraid of these shadow people. But he said that's not our observation of them at all. In fact, they actually provide a surface, according to this gentleman. He said that the shadow people are drawn to negative energy and they do feed on negative energy, but it becomes a cleansing act. And they will stay and feed off of the energy of a space until it is clean, and then they will leave and go somewhere else. So I don't know if shadow people just get a bad rap, or if maybe they're that, maybe they are actually doing a good thing by eating all of the negative energy that's built up in a space. So, take that into consideration as well. Rob is back, so let's get back to him. Mr. Rob.
Thanks for that, Brent.
Oh, for sure, buddy. No problem. I'm always happy to talk into a microphone, as you know.
Yeah, of course. That's what we do. Almost every day, it seems.
Yes. So could you describe these figures that you saw at the end of your bar?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the story because it's pretty cool, and I love telling it.
Good.
People if there's people from my audience, they might have heard it, but they still like it anyway. And this is really one of the coolest stories. Again, Bigfoot was cool but sad, so that's, we can tell that later if you want me to. But this story, so I owned this bar for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started it, I got a great deal on the property, prime location. The previous bar owners, they ran it into the ground, this, that, and the other. Okay, fine, great. That's why I got a good price. So I could put my staff together. So it was myself, my bar manager, one of my cooks, and one of my head tending ladies. We were there, and two other waitresses were with me for 6 straight years, which was awesome. Right around that 6th year, they started telling me, "Hey, Rob, and I worked a lot of hours too. My shift typically, if I didn't have to fill in for somebody, would be 10 in the morning to roughly 10 at night,
Okay.
And I would go home, and we closed at 2 in the morning. And by the time my employees left, it was usually 3 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
But I was usually 10 to 10. And they would tell me, "Hey, Rob, we've been meaning to tell you something." And it was one of my cooks. He says, "Don't think we're strange." And he got the other people along with him, 2 other people, 3 other people. "We think the bar, there's something weird about this bar. We think it might be haunted."
Mm.
And I'm like, haunted? Nah, I'm not unfamiliar with hauntings, right? Because I already experienced the ghosts,
Sure.
the shadow people. I'm not married. This is way later in life. I'm like, really? I said, I've never really, well, what's going on here? He goes, well, particular, and this just started 6 years into our business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Rob, it really kind of started about 7 or 8 months ago where we go, because the office was in the basement
Yeah.
of this place, okay? And when they would do the paperwork and do what they needed to do, the first thing that they would do every night was always clean off all the bar tables, the bar top, clean up the glasses, take a washcloth and soap and water and clean up everything, make it ready to go in the morning. Did that all the time. That was kind of the prerequisite. Check all the bathrooms because, believe it or not, Brent, people pass out in the bathroom and you lock up and there's some Joe sitting on the toilet passed out.
Oh, no.
That's happened many times. So they made sure they did that, lock the doors, do the paperwork. So they started hearing like whispers. And as I mentioned, they started just hearing weird things, and and we had some glassware because we would do a steak dinner and we would serve it on nice glass plates once a month.
Oh, okay.
They would fall out and crash on the ground for whatever, and nobody's up in that area. The bar tables that were cleaned off, there would be remnants. They'd come upstairs after doing the paperwork, and there would be beer bottles on some of the tables, some on the bar, which they know they put away. So they'd be appearing, and they would thought they heard whispers quite often. And again, everybody, this started 6 years after we're all there, very comfortable with the bar.
Right.
I said, man, really? And I said, do you guys have any audio or any video? Because we had a video camera, and yeah, we look at the tape, and you can't. It's all clean. There's nothing captured. I said, you guys, I believe you guys, because I went on to tell them about some of the freaky things that happened to me. So we just ended up speaking about ghosts, for 3-4 hours. It was it ended up being a nice night. So I said, you know what? And they said, it's always after we close, right around 3 a.m. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start coming in later, but I'll start closing out with you guys. So I'd been doing that with them because I'm very intrigued myself, Brent. So
yeah,
I was working until 3 a.m. with these guys for a little while. And then one night, and I experienced nothing. Nothing ever happened, of course, when I was there. So one night I sent everybody home. I said, you guys just go home. I sent them home right at 2 a.m. They left, and I cleaned the entire bar. I did all the bottles, wiped down everything. It's about 2:30. I check the bathrooms, make sure the doors are locked, and I go in the basement to do the paperwork. So now when you walk down the hallway, there's a hallway, and there is an exit door, and then there is the door to the office that leads downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come up the stairs to the hallway, right off to the immediate left was the main bar. It was a square all along it, and right in the middle was where all the booze and the glassware was kept. So it was the main section. Then the other section where I showed your show from was, down a piece. So I clean up everything like we're supposed to do, the process. So I'm doing the paperwork, and I start hearing like a whisper, a faint whisper. And then I hear like the clanking of glass.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, that's strange. So I go up the staircase to the top of the bar, and I look to the bar area. I don't see anything. There's nothing there. No whispering, no glasses, no bottles. And I look around. I, of course, now double check the bathrooms just to be sure, check all the doors. Everything's locked. Everything's secure. I go back downstairs. Again, start doing my paperwork. And now I hear those whispers, but the whispers are a little more pronounced and a little louder. The clinking of glassware is a little more prevalent.
Mm.
So I'm kind of coaxing. I'm going up the staircase. Get to the top of the stairs, and I look toward the square bar. And at the far end of the square bar, I have to kind of, I'm looking at this. I'm like, I shake my head. I, pull one of these, rub my eyes, and I look. And I see 4 apparitions. On the far side of the bar rail, there's two women, and on the 90 angle, there's two men. They're transparent, but they're very vividly clad in colors.
Oh.
The two men look like they were from the gangster era. They had and I could tell very distinctly because they were only 90 feet from me. Very pinned. The men had pin-clad striped suits on. They had the fedora hats, so gangster style. The two women adjacent to them were like flappers. I couldn't see their full dress because they were on the other side of the bar, but they had like the frilly, you could tell, tops on, and they had the frilly little headbands, that the women wore back in the day. And this is like, I think during the days of Prohibition, which is very key for this story, this encounter, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yep.
So, and they're sitting, but then now I'm getting a little closer. I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. From my past, I really was kind of used to it. But I know that I'm seeing something there's some strange phenomena going on. So I'm getting a little bit closer. And Brent, what I happen to see on the bar top, in front of the two men are two shot glasses. In front of the men is a fifth of Jack Daniels. In front of the two women are two wine glasses. There's a bottle of wine, which I damn well know I did not leave out. And I don't put a fifth of booze on the table anyway for anybody. You just don't do that. Right. Number one, it's illegal.
Sure. Yeah. Wow.
And the two wine glasses, there was remnants of wine. Well, I know this when I get a lot closer. So, but I know there's remnants because I expect it a little bit later. But there's a wine, a cork is uncorked, remnants. But in the two whiskey glasses, one was half full. And I don't recall the other one. It might have been half full or not. I don't think it was. But I'm edging closer. Now I move to my right now. I'm on an angle. So now I move to the left. Now I'm at the opposite end of the bar from them. And I'm staring straight down the bar rail at these four apparitions. And they're paying no mind to me. They're kibitzing. They're talking. I can't make out what they're saying, but I can tell that they're communicating. They're having a good old time. Huh. And then I kind of and whatever came over me, I wanted them to acknowledge me. I wanted them to notice me. So I'm at so I go like this. And they don't recognize that sound, and they're just going about their business, Yeah. So now I take my fist and I pound it at the top of the bar. Okay, so the whispers stop. They look down. They all look down toward me. I'm making eye contact with the two women and the two men. They're looking at me. They look like human beings, just from Prohibition days. Gangster-looking dudes, flapper-type women, and their face is nondescript. They're not smiling. They're not frowning. Nothing. Just basic.
Are they looking at you though?
Now they're looking at me. Now I got their attention.
They do see. Okay.
And now my adrenaline is to a max, and I'm excited though. I really am, and I'm I felt no fear. I was just enthralled by this.
Right.
Of course, my phone's in the basement, but I don't think I would have pulled it out anyway, because I wanted to take this experience in. Then the thing that really baked my noodle, as they say, the Matrix. That's from the Matrix, by the way. That's baked my noodle.
Sure.
The furthest, the ghostly dude closest to me looks at me, and he takes his ghostly arm in his ghostly hand. He reaches down towards, and he wraps his fingers around the shot glass. And you know what, Brent? The shot glass elevated as he was reaching it up as though he's going to take a drink.
Wow.
And And I'm like, this can't be happening right now. Am I being set up by my employees with some great elaborate scheme is now what I'm thinking, but how this is great.
Yeah.
So I have kind of mixed emotions. And then all of a sudden the shot glass, and this is really what's crazy, the shot glass slips through the ghostly fingers. It hits the top of the bar. Now, this is only maybe a half a foot, 12 inches high.
Sure.
And as the glass hits the top of my bar, which was a old style wooden bar, a hard wood, but not terribly hard, kind of a softy hard wood.
Sure.
And the shot glass shatters into a million pieces. Now, I've got to tell you this. Shot glasses, for anybody that's familiar with bar shot glasses, they're thick, they're robust. You've got to break one into a million pieces. You got to take it in your hand, and you've got to gun it with all your might on cement for that to happen. Yeah. A shot glass to fall 12 inches on a wood bar does not crack or break. They're made to go through the elements, especially the bar glass, right?
Yeah.
But it shatters. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm continuing on with this. Then all of a sudden, they all kind of smirk at me a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And, then they started to slowly morph away and fade into skeletons and then just disappeared.
Wow. So it was actually like there was literally, it wasn't a part of the apparition, the alcohol sitting there. There was actually bottles and glasses from your bar.
So, yeah, there was. So here's how I figured this out. I'm thinking, is that real barware? Is that just a figment of my imagination? Was it part of this whole entire ghost scene? So I now go, they're gone, and I walk toward the bar. Sure enough, it's real glass. I put my fingers in the whiskey, taste it. It's real whiskey. Huh. The other ladies, there was remnants of wine in the wine glasses. That happened. That was actually pulled from the bar. So here's the weird thing too: is I go in back of the bar because I know where my inventory is, and I look for the Jack Daniels rack, the row. And do you know? And I know because a little trick in the bar business, you mark all your bottles for rotation purposes. Oh. Do you know that bottle of Jack Daniels rotated pulled from the back, not the front?
Oh.
Yeah, and that wine, now where the wine came from it could have been any of the wines. I didn't really pay much attention to that. It was pulled out of the inventory because I did the inventory part of my paperwork. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's a ghost. So I spent the night because I didn't want to go home. I want to wait for the crew to come in the morning because I want to tell them this story. Now, here's what I do, Brett. I go pull the video footage.
Okay.
Because we always video everything. Remember how I told you about the bar glasses? They shot the video and they always tried to find how the bar bottles came back on all the tables and all this, that, and the other, and they could never find it.
Right.
Not only could I find the footage on what just occurred, but the camera was not even on.
Ooh.
Now I don't know if we didn't turn it on by our mistake or negligence, or if they had something to do with that. Did they know that? Did they want to make their presence known to me? I don't know.
Right.
That was kind of a bummer. Huh. And but I seen that. I waited for the crew to come in. Rob, what are you doing here? You guys, come on, let's talk. You guess this is what I seen. So, good old BMR now. Does some investigating.
Okay.
And and I never really knew the history of my bar. I just it was a great deal. The deed was signed over, went through the process of purchasing it. And that's all I did. I didn't look at the history of this place. I just knew what it was and boom, I bought it. Doing some further investigation, this bar was standing there. The original bar, the structure of the bar was there during Prohibition, and it served as a speakeasy, Brent, during that era of these same apparitions that I saw. Wow. And now I'm kind of putting sense of this together, and perhaps they were leftover souls that frequented that speakeasy during the day.
Sure.
And maybe that's where they frequented. And they were just showing up, having an enjoyable time. I happen on them. They look at me and they boom. Now, that was in 2017. My Bigfoot encounter was 2018. And then in 2020, I sold my bar because I don't know if I was being intuitive, but when 2020 came, I sold at Thanksgiving of 2020, and that's when COVID really hit hard, and we lost 3,300 bar businesses in my state alone went out of business.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So that kind of puts that together with my intuitive,
Yeah.
I guess, ability. And I just decided to sell the bar. And it was because of the ghost. It's because, dude, 13 years, 8,500 hours a week was taking its toll on me.
Sure. You're pretty much married to the business,
You are. Well, if you want it to be successful, that's your baby. That's your wife.
Yeah.
It really is.
So let me ask you this. You said you were in there for like 8 years before anything ever started.
6 years, yeah.
Okay,
about
6 years. Was it, and this is kind of a follow-up from a earlier discussion we had. Did it start after you started streaming paranormal stuff?
So I started streaming. No, it was before.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Dave Scott and you, I started streaming, I think in 2019, early 2020. 2019, I streamed you guys.
Okay.
2019, yeah, because that's right in my calendar. I started looking up shows.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. I was just curious if we were part of the gateway drug that opened.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Yeah.
No.
That's interesting. It's a phenomenal experience because as you're looking at these apparitions, they were as real as any other person, or were they a little bit translucent, or what?
Well, no, like I said, they were I could see. It was crazy because I could see they were transparent. I could see right through them to the other side of the bar. But the thing is, they were vivid. They were very vivid in color.
Right.
I mean, the way they were pinstripe suits. I can tell you, the one dude's suit was like a blue and green pinstripe, very thick pinstripe. Wow. The women, one was pink and one was a blue headband. Their frilly dresses, they were sparkly, silverish. The guy that I get the best view on was the other man that was behind the other guy that picked up the shot glass.
Wow.
So these are one that I didn't get the best view of. But the two women and the guy furthest to me, closest to me, that lifted up the shot glass, I can't. Yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Very.
It's interesting because not only did they obviously get this alcohol in glasses from your bar, but they distributed some of it in the glasses, and it looked like some of them were being drunk. At least, did you find spilled wine all over the place, like the old, remember the Ghostbusters movie where the Slimer grabs the food and he's dumping it and it just goes to the floor? Anything like that?
The only thing that made a mess was all the million pieces of glass and the whiskey.
Okay.
The other whiskey glass had a little bit of whiskey in it, and then the two wine glasses was just like, it was almost as they were finished, and you know how the residue of the wine just stays in the glass.
Sure.
But no other spillage. The only spillage was the glass, and the whiskey, which was actual whiskey.
That's
and and here's the thing too, on the whiskey, when I looked at the whiskey bottle, it was brand new. And back in the day, they had the paper that's connected from the top to the bottle. Yeah. So when you turn it, it rips.
Yep.
It was ripped, and let me tell you something. About 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of whiskey was poured out of it. It was right from that bottle.
Oh, wow. That is so amazing. It's such an amazing story, Rob, because, I mean, when you first started telling it, I was thinking, well, they weren't really even paying attention to you. It could be just a residual imprint that played out or whatever. But then you banged on the bar, and then, boom, they're looking at you, and then they go, oh, here's the shot glass. I'm holding the shot glass.
Oh, yeah, man.
And then, boom.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was definitely for you.
I think it was meant for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why is that is another $1 million question. And here's the thing: I wasn't even scared. I really
Right.
was. I was into the moment.
Yeah. What a cool
I
moment.
was into it. I didn't feel threatened.
Right.
I just had that feeling that there's not going to be any harm to me. These are not bad. They're not demons. They're people.
Right. I
I
think,
mean, they're ghosts,
right.
obviously, but
Yeah. They were people.
they
Yeah.
they were they were humans from the past. Is what I'm ascertaining, right?
Sure. Oh,
And
yeah.
then when I did the further research on the bonds, certainly their attire fit the era.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it made a lot of sense.
I,
And the only question I pose is how come this just took place after a little under it's 6 years is when this all started,
right.
happening.
It's like they were paying homage to you. Like perhaps these were the former owners. Maybe it was a group of people that owned it, and
Yeah,
they knew you were the owner, so they were just hey, cheers. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
could be.
I was often thinking about instead of being a jerk and smashing my hand, I should have probably grabbed the bottle of beer and walked toward them and joined them.
Yeah, you never know. They might have.
Yeah. I'm
Sat
sure
down for a cold
don't.
one.
Yeah, they probably would have disappeared if I got too
Probably.
close. But I don't
Probably.
know. But
But still, what an amazing experience. That's the kind of experience that a lot of like researchers are looking for, and I mean, they're so incredibly rare, and you're talking manipulation of physical objects, being absolutely manifested apparitions, and I mean, it's a great, great story. It really
yeah.
is.
Well, thank you. And you know what's cool about like this show and all the shows that we all do together as a group? I feel comfortable telling that.
Yeah.
That happened to me. It's happened, and that's how I welcome people on my show. It happened. Certainly, people are rolling their eyes. Maybe not in your chat room, but if you were to tell this to the average Joe on the street, they'd be like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
But you guys, the paranormal phenomena exists today.
Yeah.
The
Good.
question is for me that and I'll ask you this, Brett, why do you think that some paranormal researchers, or more readily though with like cryptids or Bigfoot, why do you think there are many investigators and researchers that love Bigfoot as an example?
Okay.
They've been in the field 20, 25, 30 years. The old guys that have been around.
Sure.
And they've never seen a Bigfoot in their life, only prints.
Yeah.
Only maybe, tree branches, maybe a whoop and a holler, but never experienced the being itself.
Right.
And an average Joe like me out fishing one day, boom, happens across a Bigfoot. I just don't get that. I would think if I spent 30 years looking for Bigfoot, never even saw one, that's got to be frustrating. But more importantly, the question is why. I think a lot of it has to do with, before you answer, I just really quickly will say a lot of people may not just believe, right? I don't know.
Well,
I think you have to believe in something for it to come to fruition.
maybe, but I think the big takeaway is that oftentimes most people's encounters with Bigfoot, they weren't looking for them. The Bigfoot found them.
Yeah. Yes. That's absolutely correct.
And so I think they choose or choose not to reveal themselves to whomever, and God only knows what kind of criteria they have for that, but it's like they make the decision, and I think by virtue of looking for them, that may be probably, I mean, I think these things are intelligent, right? So
Yeah.
they know when they're being pursued, and I think that already puts them on edge. Like, why are they trying to find us? We're just trying to exist. Just stay away, because they know we're in the woods long before we become aware of them. So I'm sure that they're like, why are they looking at our tracks? They're looking at where we broke those trees. Why are they trying to find us? And I'm sure these things are surviving in our absence by choosing our absence. And so they may choose to let somebody see them, and it might just be because, hey, you're getting too close to my family. I got little ones right over here. You need to back off, or whatever. But I think by virtue of people looking for them, it may inspire more of a suspicion and fear from these things, and they won't be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think that Bigfoot finds you, you don't find
Yes.
him.
Yes.
And I think they know your intentions in the forest. As soon as you get out of your vehicle, if your intention is to find him, they stay away.
Right. Yeah.
Often the stories that I get are encounter stories. I always say stories because, yes, they're encounters, but the stories that I get are like from families out camping. They
Yes.
could care less about Bigfoot, don't know about Bigfoot.
Right.
If they do, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the folks that I love when they come forward because they are such genuine stories where they were just totally flabbergasted at what happened.
Right. Yeah.
And I find when you have researchers on, they don't see them. They just have all the other evidence,
Yeah.
potential evidence that's okay, we've all heard about before.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that probably the best, and I don't research Bigfoot actively. I mean, I'm more of an academic interest in it. But I think the best thing you can do is just try to make yourself interesting to them, by going out and looking at where they've been and casting prints. And I think they're probably watching these people do that. And they're like,
I think for sure they are. I think they, even if they know your intention, they're watching you from a distance, but they're not going to show themselves.
Right.
They're not going to give you that satisfaction.
Yeah, because maybe they do know what we're thinking and they can feel our energy and our vibe. And even if it's benign, they're just not comfortable with us trying to encourage that meeting. But I think, if you just sit back and do you and make yourself interesting, they'll come in if they're curious and they'll see what you're doing. I mean, that's just me. I probably should. But that's my
we
take.
share a lot of the same thoughts. I'm with you 100% on that one.
Yeah.
And I just think that, you remember good old Duke, he always says that we're their television.
Yeah.
And they crack up watching us.
I think so.
From a distance.
Yeah, I think he's right. I think, if you, I mean, I love the forest and I love being out there, but if I was out there every day and that was where I lived and everything I dealt with every day in and out was the forest, probably a camper would be about the coolest thing I ever saw with all the lights and sounds and sensations and smells. It'd be like, what the hell is this? Let's go check it out. So I think there's a lot of virtue to that. We got a question in chat. I've been holding it. Rachel gets it right. What could be the reason some ghosts are transparent, Rob? Well, I mean, she's just asking a question, but I'm asking you since you're a guest. While others are solid, is it a level of energy? Is it a difference of active and residual haunts or choice of the spirit? What do you think, Rob?
I think maybe residual, and I also think that this. I will say this: of the ghosts that I've experienced, they've all been transparent.
Okay.
As far as the solid, I personally, to be honest with you, it's a little above my pay grade. The solid ghosts, I've never really even heard many of those stories.
Mm-hmm.
So my experiences have been transparent. And have there been a lot of accounts of solid ghosts who have been family members, though?
Yeah, I've talked to a few people that have experienced that.
And I think it's the perception, too, of the person that beholds it.
Yes.
I think if it's a long love a person passed on, and let's say it's your mom, your dad, I think they would present themselves in a full-bodied image. I don't think they would be transparent. That's just my guess, my theory, my thought that I'm trying to answer this question best I can.
Yeah. No, I think
that's what I'm thinking.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because most of the people I've spoken with has been an apparition. To me, the definition is a transparent ghost or soul or ghost of something. Yeah. And I think there's a difference between souls and ghosts, don't you?
Well, yeah, I do. I think spirits and ghosts is where I usually draw the distinction. Like ghosts are maybe some fraction of a spirit that's been left behind. It might not be the whole spirit. It might be the part that couldn't transition to the next world, or because it's just the earthly part. But some imprint of energy that became conscious. But a spirit, I think, it potentially could be one that's transitioned and can come back or whatever. I mean, that's kind of my rudimentary definition of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I got you. And what I have learned though, since I got involved with all this, for quite a little while now, studying stuff and talking to other people, we're all built on frequency and energy.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain levels of frequency with people, and I think what is it? The higher the frequency, the more apt you are. The lower frequency, it's more of a it's not. It's like more of a nothing. You're not going to really tap into that realm, if you will.
Probably, yeah, yeah.
It's either one of the two. It's either the other, either or the or.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big part of it, and I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of it is your open mindedness. They always talk about that third eye, right?
Yeah.
They got to sharpen up and get that. They tell you all these things not to do, like take fluoride and this, and you be more open. Why? Hey, man, I use fluoride, so I still see things. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's just that's why I love doing these topics and these shows, because it's really never going to end, because we're never going to get full answers
Right.
until day when we
make
cross
the
over.
journey. Yep. When we make the journey, we're going to figure out it all. Phil Funk comes in with a question, says, talking about the bar apparitions, could they have reacted to Rob getting their attention and they didn't like it? Did you have a feel like, I pissed them off?
Well, I never felt threatened. I think that
Okay.
in fact, though, when I hit the head on my hand, on the end of the bar, is when they kind of gave me that smirk, and then that's when that glass elevated. Maybe they were toasting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they just kind of went about their business and kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the thing that was kind of creepy, though, is when they morphed into skeletons, kind of.
Yeah, that part is weird. You're right.
That kind of gave me a little bit of a chill, I must admit, to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're used to seeing skeletons animated.
I mean, it's like what's what movies are made of, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
And BJ Lapierre, author and illustrator, said, you need to get a sketch artist and have them draw the ghost from your description to do a photo recognition and see if anyone shows up from it. Or
I could do. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brent.
Or compare the pics to the original owners if you could find images of those.
I could probably do that, because a great friend of mine, Sibylla Irwin, she's an awesome illustrator and artist.
Yep.
She did the sketches, several sketches of my actual Bigfoot encounter.
Yeah.
That are posted on my channel.
Yes.
And she's 95% accurate.
Oh, very cool.
And in fact, she's going to be coming back on the show in a couple of weeks, I think in March. Yeah, not a couple of weeks in March, and we're going to be doing a show. And I'm going to probably bug her once again if she could maybe do that for me, because she's fantastic.
Yeah.
So BJ thinks that's a great idea.
Yeah, very cool. I know we're at about 8:32, and I want to make sure you have time, but there's another one. I'm just looking at some of the comments that are. What is he saying? Rachel, wait, no, it's Phil Funk says, it's like when you're looking for something in your house and can't find it. As soon as you stop and start doing something else, boom, you find it. Yeah. Do you mean about how the bottles and stuff would appear in the glasses? Is that what you mean, Phil? Because it does sound like an apport. You know the term apport, Rob? APPORT. Mm-hmm. That's when things manifest or are gifted or given by spirits. Like they will, like I got an apport one time, I believe from my grandpa, and it was a beautiful agate that was sitting on the chair I just got out of that I'd never seen before. And he was known for collecting agates on the beach. So that's an apport.
Okay.
And earlier when you were talking about it, Rachel asked the question about, to me, do I think that these things were moved, or were they just apparated there or apported there? Like, did they grab the bottle and actually levitate it through the bar and then set it down, or did they just...
I wondered that myself, because it definitely moved from the middle of the bar area to the bar.
Yeah.
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
Was it levitated over like the shot glass, or was it apported? I guess that's
that's a great question.
That would have been something to see. Well, let me tell you something. Seeing a shot glass being levitated was enough for me. I mean, that was, come on,
Yeah. No, that's really, really cool. But I want
That's a great question, though.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fantastic.
I would love to have seen that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because it got there somehow, some way.
Yep. Yep. And it was from somewhere to somewhere. So that's what's really cool.
And I do wonder if the apparitions, spirits, I wonder if they purposely blinked out my camera, which always is like 24/7.
yeah. Well, it
That
would
was kind of odd too.
it would follow the recipe card of most paranormal stuff. It's like if you get a camera, you got it set up, and then boom, something glitches and it doesn't catch. I mean, sometimes they catch some pretty
Could have
solid
sucked
stuff.
the energy out of it,
Sure.
right? We all talk about energy draining on our batteries.
Yeah. Or
Hence
interfering.
the
Yep. Lights flickering.
yeah,
So perhaps it's an EM thing, but
absolutely, yeah,
hard to understand.
absolutely.
I do want to make sure that you have time to go into your Bigfoot experience, of course, because
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I could do that. We got
about 20,
25 minutes or
yeah,
so.
about,
Yeah.
and we can get off whenever you want, but
Yeah, no, I can do it. Give you time to say your goodbyes. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, let's let it. Let's start it now, and then we'll
okay,
have plenty of time toward the end.
sure.
So really, this is like again. I tell you what, though, I will say this: that ghost story is for me. That's my number one most favorite experience of my life. I really was.
Mhm.
The Bigfoot one was quite the experience, but it's just so mixed emotions with that, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I tell you what, it set me on. It didn't set me on my journey because I believe my journey started at 5 or 6. So, and this is probably, it's kind of, it's something that you just can't process. Today, I probably have a good handle on it.
hmm
But anyways, so yeah, for those that haven't heard it, this is kind of how my channel even started. It was because of the encounter. So, anyways, this was June 15th of 2018, and I told my girlfriend Cindy at the time that I wanted to take her fishing. I said, "Look, I rented a cabin. I rented a little skiff fishing boat." And I said, quite frankly, honey, I'm an outdoorsy type of guy. So, you want to make this relationship work after about 2 or 3 years of dating, you got to do some of these things. See if you like it. It'll be fun. I said, plus it's cool. It's in Cadillac, Michigan. They have a lot of cool shops, restaurants, craft items. There's a lot of things you can do. So it's not just all about me taking you fishing, right?
hmm
And plus it's a beautiful place to go. So she's like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's just do it. I'm like, cool. So we pack up our gear. We head off to Cadillac, Michigan, which is, by the way, in Wexford County, which also backs up to the Manistee National Forest.
hmm
Two things on these locations. Wexford County is the capital of Dogman in the state of Michigan.
Oh,
Yes. And Manistee National Forest has many haunted and sacred grounds, which again I researched this. There's sections of the Manistee National Forest which goes from the west side of the state to the east side of the state, and there's a lot of bad voodoo, whatever you want to call it, that's going on there. So it's kind of weird. A lot of weird happenings with the paranormal and everything. So that's just to lay that kind of, and it's a beautiful forest, though. Absolutely beautiful. So we get to Lake Cadillac, pull up, get everything ready, get all our gear stowed away in the cabin, and the skiff, they had brought it right up to the boat. It's right at the lake shore there, and we get on this little skiff, and we're traversing about Lake Cadillac, and painting a picture of Lake. Well, first of all, the day was a beautiful blue sky. It's about 10 in the morning. And for all you fishermen, yes, 10 in the morning, the worst time to go fishing. She didn't want to go fishing at 5 in the morning. So, yeah,
yeah.
which one I would have gone. But anyways, this beautiful blue sky, bright, brilliant sun is already, you can see it rising. It's already 10 o'clock. So Lake Cadillac is a big lake. Surrounding Lake Cadillac, a lot of beautiful homes, a lot of small businesses, mom and pop stores, and a little bit of industry in there. So it has everything. And again, very expansive lake. So we're out there fishing, and about an hour and a half goes by, Brent, and everybody listening, and there was nothing going on. Cindy's getting bored. Oh, this is what fishing's all about, Rob. No, it's not. Hey, just enjoy nature. Don't you like enjoy? She's yeah. I'm loving the scenery, but let's move on. So I'm like, yeah. So we started exploring Lake Cadillac. So we take this little skiff and we're traversing again, boating, I guess you would call it, amongst the lake. Then we come across this canal, which led to another lake, which is called Lake Mitchell. Lake Mitchell is just as big as Cadillac. And I didn't even think about this lake when I was planning the trip. And now, when we went through this canal onto Lake Mitchell, and now Lake Mitchell, you guys, as beautiful as Lake Cadillac is, Mitchell is way nicer. First of all, not as much buildup. Yes, there are homes here and there and otherwise, but the backdrop is right there is the forest, Manistee National Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So we're going down the shoreline off the big lake, and then we come across this bay or this cove. And I'm like, yeah, honey, it's a great spot to drop the lines in the water. So she goes, yeah, this is nice. And there's nothing here, just the forest, no houses, nothing. And oddly enough, there's really nobody on the lake. It's like the middle of the week, like on a Wednesday, if I recall, Wednesday, Tuesday. So during the workday, it wasn't during the holidays. So it was kind of calm, nobody around. So we're drifting about 90 feet from shore. And so I grab the rods and the reels and I start switching out the bait, the lures, whatever. So I'm looking down and I'm fiddling about with the fishing gear. And Cindy, she's like standing up, stretching out, and looking out over the background of the beautiful forest. And then she says to me, "Hey, Rob, I think someone's tossing rocks at the boat."
Mm.
I'm like, "Tossing rocks?" I'm like, "Okay." I look up, see nothing. I said, "I don't see anybody." She goes, "Yeah, well, it came from the tree line." I'm like, "Wow, well, no." I go, anyways, I kind of blew her off. Put my head back down, working on the gear. Now she's more like adamant. Rob, there's someone throwing rocks at the boat, a little more forcefully. I'm like, I look at it. I said, look, there's nobody out there. Maybe it's fish. She goes, no, they're rocks. They're landing like 8 feet in front of us, whatever. I'm like, okay, just, you know what? Let me get this together so we get the bait, the tackle into the water. We can fish, and I'll watch along with you. She goes, fine. So I got my head down, and I'm blah, 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 finishing up what I'm doing. Then for whatever the reason, Brent, I look up into the sky. I just happen to glance up. And as I said earlier, beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. It's blue. And I'd see this object coming down from the sky.
Mm.
I'm like, what in the hell is this? And it was a rock about the size of a baseball that lands about 4 feet in front of the boat.
Oh.
And I look at Cindy now to like apologize and say, wow, there's someone tossing rocks. So I look at Cindy, and she's still standing there. And Cindy was a sun goddess. She already had a tan from head to toe, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's June 15th. So I look at her. Every ounce of tan that she had in her body was completely drained. Her body was like almost white, man. It's white. And she's staring at something. I could tell she's asphyxiated at the shoreline. I look up at the shoreline, and standing there in a little cutout area with the backdrop of the forest is this creature. It's about 9 foot tall from my right, and I'm 90 feet away. I get a great glimpse of this thing. I'm guessing 8.5, 9 feet tall, and it's coated in this long, beautiful reddish brown hair, a beautiful coloring. And I'm looking closer at this thing, getting a better look. It had like a grayish face with a grayish chest, which was a lot shorter hair, so you could see the the chest and the face. I could see the face, and it looked like a human being, Brent. It looked like a human with a form of deformity. It had offset eyes. It had gray, kind of wrinkled skin, and it kind of reminded me of a person. I hate to say this, but this I always say it the same way from this experience. Looked like a person around me that had a stroke or Down syndrome.
Oh, okay.
And I could see this creature. I call it a creature. Kind of looked like a human, just covered in all his hair, but a weird-looking human at that, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, we're looking, and she's looking, and all of a sudden, this creature, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, because I still don't know to this day what to call it, to be honest, rolls back his shoulders. It's like 4-foot barrel body. Okay. The head was kind of like our head too, but all that hair on there, I couldn't tell if it was back. I only say this now. I couldn't tell if it had the point, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Like everyone says, the conical head.
Yeah.
That old crusted gray face, it rolls back. The eyes roll back black. Now, from what I can recall, the eyes were kind of opaque, like ours, whitish, but they roll back black. That off gray skin gets very taut and it darkens. And it drops his mouth, and the jaw drops down 4 or 5 inches, opens his mouth, and it's a huge mouth. This ball, Brent, you could drop a softball in it very easily.
Oh, wow.
It exposes four sets of teeth, 2 up top, which were almost like fangs almost, and 2 like bottom 2 teeth shot straight up, like some sort of incisor of some sort. And then it roars, screams, yells all in unison, and while it's very curdling sound, and in fact, it was almost, I don't want to say quite deafening, but the reverberation cast from the shoreline, it reaches the boat, and I can feel something hit me, and it hits me with a force where I take a little stumble backwards. Cindy, 5'1", 110 pounds, standing, falls into the water, falls off the boat. Now it's a skiff. It's not very tall out of the water. You really shouldn't stand on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But she was a light person, so whatever. Excuse me. So now I know that I have to get Cindy into the boat, but I'm still fixated at this creature. But now it's transformed from that weird-looking human type into something. I always call it a demon.
Yeah.
That's how I always tell the story, because I don't change the story, even though today I don't think it's a demon today, okay? But I always tell the story exactly how I saw it from day one, from the 18th. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So I go to turn to my right, but now all of a sudden, I always tell everybody listening, I always paint the picture of the beautiful green scenery, the blue sky, the orange sun, the beautiful red color of this creature. Now everything, I'm looking through a filter now. It's almost like everything was kind of black and white and very grainy, odd coloring. It seems like time stood still now. And I tried to move to my right to get Cindy. Now I'm paralyzed. I cannot move I cannot move.
Oh, no.
I could turn my head, but I'm paralyzed. My legs won't move. My arms barely could move. I can't. I got to get her. I start kind of like franticing, and I still hear this yell in the background. So I start shaking my head. I'm trying to shake my head, and I finally was able to move my head around. I snap out of it. The color came back to me. It seemed, now I'm in present time. I don't know, not that I was in a past time, but now I'm back to normal.
Right.
So I go get her into the boat. And I must tell you, one of the scariest parts of this is when I went and looked to the shoreline, and this creature's gone, whatever this thing is. So I'm thinking, man, we got to get the hell out of here. I don't know if it's on the bottom of the lake swimming towards us. What's going on? So I turned, I fire up that little small horsepower motor or whatever was on the back of it and sped the hell out of there. I go all the way across Lake Mitchell. I go all the way through that canal, and I beeline it right towards, where my cabin was, where I had, set the boat out.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I don't get to the cabin because I remember looking for a public beach area where I pulled up. Okay. And I pulled up and I got out and she's shivering. I put a blanket on her. She goes, let's get out of this boat. Let's go walk somewhere. So we start walking. We get into the town a little bit in, and there's this bar restaurant. I'm like, thank God, I got to sit down. So we get in there. It's maybe about 12:30, so it's lunch hour. Thankfully, though, Brent, and everyone listening, when I got into the bar, there was nobody really in there. Off to the right, I think there was a couple sitting at the bar doing their thing. And to the left, there was a bunch of tables. So me and Cindy, we get the furthest table in the corner that away from everybody where we could get to. We go back, sit down. The barkeep, the barmaid, bar lady, nice woman comes up. Hey, y'all, blah, blah, blah. Hey, what's happening? What y'all getting? So, what y'all having, I should say. And Cindy, not a drinker. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, nothing. She says to the waitress, I'll have a shot of Jack Daniels and a bottle of Bud Light. And I'm thinking, yeah, she's shell-shocked.
Yeah.
Unless she's a closet drinker and I don't know about it, right? So,
Sure.
So the waitress looks at me and she says, what do you have? I said, I'll take the same, but make mine a double.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
CD and I are still looking at each other. And we're just looking at each other, bro. We're not speaking a word. I think we're waiting for the drinks.
Yeah.
The waitress comes back, puts the shot in front of Cindy, the bottle of Bud, gives me 2 Buds and 2 shots. And Cindy takes that shot of Jack Daniels down like a champ, takes that bottle of Budweiser, Bud Light it was, drinks washes it down like she'd been drinking for 30 years.
Yeah.
I do a shot, drink my beer. And she says, that she finally says to me, honey, what do you think that was? And then I said, honey, I don't know. What do you think it was? And then she says, now bear in mind, she and I never spoke about Bigfoot in our lifetime.
Right.
She goes, I think maybe it was that creature Bigfoot. And I says, I think maybe it was.
Wow.
But then she says, should we call I don't know, the cops, the DNR? I go, no. No.
Yeah. No.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
I mean, no, how do you explain such a thing? I'm telling her. She goes, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. So unfortunately, that kind of wrecked the rest of the weekend. So we drove home. But I will tell you this, that we got, and again, remember I told you earlier in the show that I never used YouTube for anything.
Yeah.
So we went online. We're typing in Bigfoot on the computer, Bigfoot, Bigfoot, paranormal, demons. And I'm surfing now YouTube now, and I found some stuff. But nothing satisfied us. There was nothing matched up to what we saw. No good pictures, as you know, Brent.
Sure. Plenty
of demon pictures, but they weren't even like what it meant. It was nothing what I saw. So we're just like, wow, So we're just, we're trying to figure out what is it that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Cindy's mom hated me because I owned a bar and I was, according to her, the devil.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, did not like me every time. And Cindy lived with her mom. We didn't live together or nothing like that. We were,
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah. So Cindy's mom calls me, and she never calls me, hates me, Hey, Rob. I go, yeah. I just wanted to tell you that Cindy passed away early this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I guess she had a heart attack.
Oh.
I'm like, what? A heart attack? That don't sound right. She goes, yeah. Well, by the way, I never want to see her again. You're not coming to the funeral. I'm not going to lie you.
Wow.
I'm like, What are you talking about? Yeah. Thank you, she says, and hangs up on me.
What a horrible thing.
Yeah, man. Very horrible. So,
I'm sorry.
yeah. So, gosh, that's like, So to this day, her death's a mystery because as I'm not a family member or husband, I don't even know how she died, dude.
Yeah.
And I tell you right now. And so I started blame. So I started to blame it on this Bigfoot creature. This thing, when we got hit with that sound wave or whatever. And again, I know nothing about Bigfoot. I don't know what it is. I don't even know about infrasound. I don't know about anything. I just blamed it on this demonic looking creature.
Sure.
And I was calling my buddies, let's go hunt this thing down because I know some hunter friends.
Mm-hmm.
Rah, what the hell are you talking about? Calm down. You're acting crazy. Called me down. Didn't go back, obviously. I didn't go back looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got in a dark place, man. can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear.
I got in a very dark place. So I owned the bar again, still at this time, right? I went and I saw my bar manager, man. And I says, here are the keys. I'm not coming back for a while. I got to take care of something that I have to figure out. What do you mean, man? I go, yeah, it's too big. It's too convoluted. It's too far out. I just don't rip me off, put all the money in the bank. And again, same guy who's been with me for all the years. So I did trust him.
Sure.
So I said, look, I'll come back when I come back. So that's when I immersed myself in the topic of Bigfoot. And again, going back to how everything started for me, I couldn't find anybody that would help me. Nobody, man. And the things that I found was BS.
Yeah.
And I was just more and more and more confused. I was getting more and more deeper and deeper into what's going on with me, And now you're talking to the guy that did see the ghost at the bar. You're talking to the guy that said all these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, man, am I a weirdo? Literally, I see all these crazy things. Now I see this. Now someone's no longer with me. So I carried a burden on me.
Yeah.
I thought it was my fault for bringing her to the. I'm over all this every way, by the way. So
yeah.
But it's still, every time I talk about it, it's an emotional thing for me.
Yeah.
And it's therapy for me, and I'm glad I'm doing this. I haven't done this in a while. And I'm like, geez. So anyways, yeah, so never got the answers. And then I said, you know what? I finally went back to work, worked out everything, started going on a couple of shows, and I finally found Kerry Arnold,
mm-hmm.
who really set me straight. I happened to find him by luck.
Yeah.
And I saw his Bigfoot. It was on Thanksgiving morning. I saw Kerry do his encounter story. And he left his phone number actually on the video. And this is right when he started up. Brant, he had maybe 3 or 4 videos.
Yep. And
I called him, and we had like a 5-hour talk. He told me I wasn't going crazy. He believed me.
Yeah.
So then you know what? My channel formed. And the reason my channel formed, Bigfoot Mr. Rob, is to help people because I walked alone for a long time. No one would help me. And I know there are many people out there like me that have had these experiences that have nowhere to go. So that's why I started the channel, not for fame and fortune and glory. We don't get that, Brent. You well know it. But that was not my intent, man.
Right.
It was to help people that did not help me. So it's my way of giving back to people. Yeah. And the 2 books I wrote were on people's encounters that don't even want to come on the show. They want to be Anonymous Joe. But Rob, here's my story. Can I put it in a book? Yes, you can. No, they want no 15 minutes of fame. So today, I think I have a purpose in why this all happened. Mm-hmm. I think there's a purpose why at 5 I saw ghosts. I think there's a purpose why I saw the shadow people, the bar experience, and ultimately the Bigfoot and the unfortunate demise of Cindy, because I think that's my purpose. That's what I'm supposed to do that today.
Yeah.
And that's why I love what I do, because it's not that I want to be in the back of a mic and just be high. I'm Mr. Host, because I feel I help people. That's why I do what I do, man. And I love the guests that come on, the people. Like last night, a guy from Michigan told his dogman encounter last night, which is fabulous. And he was scared to come on, but
Good for
he
him.
knows that we have a safe place to go. Much like you do, Brent. I do text the girls. That's why we do this. And
Yep.
so now I have clarity with that. I mourned. The only mystery in my life, Brent, why she died. That's all I want to know today. I don't think I'll ever find that out.
Do you think that she ever told her mom what you guys saw?
I don't know.
That's what I was curious about. If
Great question. I just don't know that answer. I couldn't answer that.
Okay.
We never spoke on it.
after that.
We were all when we were looking up this Bigfoot stuff together as a couple. It was just she and I.
Yeah.
As far as I know, she probably didn't tell her mom because her mom didn't like me anyway. So,
Yeah.
you saw this with that I almost said a bad word with that idiot Rob.
Yeah. No, I got you.
I mean, it gets me pumped up because that woman, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she's dead or alive today. I just don't know about her. But anyway.
No, I hear you. Did you ever look into that area for other reports? Is this a real common area?
I've got, you know what, man? Several people have told me, Rob, there's Bigfoot out here in this area. They knew. One guy mapped out the area and sent me a map.
Yeah.
Where he's heard these howls and moans from the woods before.
Oh, wow.
He goes, Rob, man, I believe there's something out here.
Sure.
But it's not. What I have found with some research is this: it doesn't live there. It comes down from the forest every so often. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. It's not its main. And I think these Bigfoot. They probably migrate. They don't stay in one spot. I think they're always jumping from location to location.
Yeah.
But they say occasionally. And so the guy says, yeah, man, I've heard the same howl before at night. And he says he lives like a half mile up the road.
Ooh.
So I've got a lot of confirmation from people that
Sure.
have reached out to me in the past. Yes, Rob.
They're here. Wow.
They're here. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, it's almost an incredibly aggressive encounter because it chose to make itself known to you. I mean, and to intimidate you guys, and whereas it could have just been invisible and just watched if it was just a curiosity thing, but it was just maybe something more. Who knows? It's all speculative, but I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this.
I'm glad I came on, finally, to see your audience, and you have a great audience and stuff like that, and you're an awesome guy, and you can see Brent with me tomorrow. You coming on tomorrow, Brent? I don't have a guest.
Oh, well, then I'll probably be there.
Me and Tex will shoot it. We'll just talk whatever we come up with.
I got an interview tomorrow around noon, I think, but other than that, I should be wide open.
Yeah, if you can make it, pop on. It'll be me and Tex, so if you want to show up, you're more than welcome.
All right.
Again, no guests tomorrow on the show, but
okay.
But yeah, pop on in if you want. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Rob. Please let everybody know where to find you in case they're not familiar with your show.
Yeah. Thanks, Brent. Bigfoot Mr. Rob's name on my channel. Bigfoot Mr. Rob. Very easy to type it in Yahoo. YouTube. I'm still, thinking about that story again.
Sure. Yeah.
YouTube, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I have 2 books on Amazon. If you want to check them out, just type Bigfoot Michigan Rob on your Amazon browser. And I'm on Tuesday nights at 9, Thursday afternoons at 1. And I'm kind of on during Brent just a little bit on Saturday at 11 o'clock.
Yeah. You're bringing in that. Well, yeah, your time, 11. Yep.
Yeah.
So you're starting, I think, about 8 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, hour after you, I think. Yeah.
Yep. So after I start on Friday or Saturday. Yeah. And then I try to go over and hang out with you guys then too.
You do, yeah. I've enjoyed having you come on the show. Now it's you're kind of a regular now, which is awesome. So I appreciate you for doing that for us.
Well, you guys kind of welcome me into the family, so I really appreciate it. But this has been a lot of fun, brother. I'm glad. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm glad we made it happen. And I know there's so much more to discuss. And you're welcome to come back whenever you feel like you want to make an appearance. You're always welcome on the portal, brother.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I had a great time. Thanks to everybody in chat. I didn't say hi. I couldn't see you. Hello. Thank you.
Yeah, well, everybody's been talking about how much they enjoyed your
Cool.
your interview tonight. So yeah, but that's
Excellent.
gonna
Thank you.
wrap it up for us guys. We went to about 4 minutes over, so not too bad. But yeah, I'll be back on Friday night, and we'll dig into it again. And Sheldon should be with me then, and then I think probably Tex will join me on Saturday. So the live shows will be happening. If you're not familiar with the podcast, Paranormal Portal podcast, available on all of the platforms where podcasts are found. Just search for Paranormal Portal, and it's very different. This show that we just did tonight will be featured on the podcast as well, probably in 2 parts. I'm going to break it into 2 parts and get double the mileage out of you, Rob. You're going to be
There, yeah, double, go for it. What's that? Double mint gum? Remember that old commercial?
Double your pleasure.
Double your pleasure. Double your pleasure with double mint gum.
Double your fun. Have Rob on, and it'll be a lot of fun. Yep. We had a good time. So I guess it's going to wrap it up for us, folks. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back on Friday night, and we'll do it all again. Rob, hang on there, and I'll talk to you after the show here.
Yeah, I'm going to grab a quick drink. I'll be right back. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brent.
All right. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
I'm going to roll the credits.
Very good.